We were not made to live without God. As a Christian, that's probably a very like obvious statement to make. But I just want to ingrain this fact because it's something that even I can forget about at times, but how much more does everybody else tend to forget this because of the worldliness, the job, the friends, family, all these distractions in life. But I just want you to think about how unnatural and wrong life feels when you're not doing God's will, when you're not having a relationship with God and not glorifying Him and living like a life of delayed gratification in honor of Him. And you can only really tell the difference of this after you've already accepted this in your life. You've already accepted God. But life with God is so natural and it feels like the natural order of things because it is. The thing is, God made us to be with Him. God is the source of everything good, right? And so naturally, God would be the natural order to things. And so when we're distanced from God, either by not having a relationship with Him, not believing in Him, or not doing His purpose for our life, and not doing His will and His lifestyle and His attributes, and not having that in ourselves, it separates us from God. Those three things separate us from God, and then life starts to feel very unnatural. It feels very fake. It feels very artificial. It feels very like this. There's so many layers to this. But if you may have noticed this before, but like the closer you are to God, like because of those things, of course the opposite, like you're doing those things and you have those things, the closer you are to God, the more you will literally notice like the small things in life, like how beautiful the trees are, how beautiful the sky looks right now, how cloudy it is, and just the birds and just all the things, the grass, the green grass, colors look more vibrant and beautiful, and you just feel more alive in a weird way, which is so unexplainable. There's a spiritual feeling of like feeling more alive, and there's no way to explain that except just saying that out front. But you literally feel more alive with God, and when you're not living a life of God, you feel more like fake. You feel more of like this simulation, like this NPC in a way that just kind of is existing. And yet it's so different when you're actually close to God and you're getting more positive thoughts all the time. You're more grateful for things. You're more appreciative of things. You're more happy. You're more positive. You're more loving to people. You feel more things like emotions. You feel more emotions. You feel more peace and kindness towards people and love. And it's like these things are of God, but most of us, 99.9% of the world doesn't experience this level of these things because they are far from God. They're living lives not of God. They're not believing in God. They're not serving God. And so even Christians, and so like even if you have the Holy Spirit, you're not living this life of God, and it's like such a shallow version of life we're supposed to live. Now this is a really interesting thing. Now I do believe in original sin. However, I do think when we are kids, we have like a sense of like being further from sin, being more like innocent. And then Jesus also says in the Gospels, I think Matthew something, if you're not like the little children, you will not enter the kingdom of heaven, or the kingdom of God, shall I say. And so it's like there's like an innocence, there is like a purity with kids, even though kids are sinful as well. I believe kids are like so much further from sin because they've had less exposure to sin in their life because they are so much younger. And so because of that reason, like if you, as a kid, you probably remember how much peace you felt, how much love, how much like when you wake up in the morning, the spiritual peace you feel, the spiritual like joy and happiness for no reason, but you're just a kid and you feel this. And you also have this childlike faith in your parents, and you can trust them. You can know that they will protect you, even if you got like some weird anxious attachment style from them because they don't always take care of you, or they're not always there for you. You still feel this like protection from them. You still feel this like assurance from them in a way. And so you have this childlike faith in them, which gives you a lot of peace and joy. But as adults, we don't have that. As adults, we don't put our faith and our trust in anything, and our like protection. We don't feel protected by anything. And we're trusting in ourselves, which gives anxiety. And we're trusting in the government, which gives anxiety. But if we can trust in God, it feels like we're a kid again. And when we feel like a kid again, we're just feel like we're so much further from sin. We feel more alive. We feel more of like what I was explaining with seeing colors more vibrantly and seeing the world in a more innocent and like vibrant and purity, like just beautiful light, which so many people don't get to experience, but I wish everybody did because it is so beautiful. I really like that analogy though, and I wasn't even reading off my script, but I do have it here, is just when you wake up in the morning as a kid and you feel that sense of peace, that faith, that joy. Imagine that, but as an adult. Imagine that feeling you felt as a kid every single day, that joy, the innocence, the purity, the curiosity. Imagine feeling all these things as an adult. And it is possible. It is truly possible. If you are a Christian, you've probably felt glimpses of that life at certain times. And you probably like have this mindset that like, oh, following God is up and down. It's a rocky road. And I hate this. I hate this. Okay. I've been told this a million times, but like I've heard people say, God is not always there. God is not always, you're not always going to feel God. That is not true whatsoever. You can feel God by serving God, by being close to him, by doing his will, by living this life, by praying and being like having a relationship with him. You will get closer to him no matter what. It's black and white. There is no buts about it. Oh, you're in a season of God is testing you. It's like, no, God is always there. You might not feel him. That is because of your fault. If you don't feel him, it is your fault. It is because you're living a life not of God, because you're being distracted by the world, because you're struggling in life. So you're focusing on the struggle rather than the God that can help you overcome the struggle, the God that is bigger than the struggle. And it's like, you're focusing on the struggle so much. It's natural. We do it. I do it. That deters all childlike faith in the God that we serve. And it's like, that destroys all childlike faith that we have in this God. And it's like, at that point, like your struggle is almost becoming like an idol. It is becoming an idol. And it's like, you are going to live a more shallow life because of that. But if you can stand firm and your relationship with God is firm, and you still trust God, you still put God number one through it all, and nothing changes through the bad circumstances in your life, which is really hard to do. It is really hard to get to this point. You will feel so much peace in the struggle. You could be literally like suffering and struggling and losing on the street, dirt poor. You will have peace in your life. You'll have joy in your life because you are serving God still, and you are still with God. You're still close to God. This is the natural order to life. That is with God, because God is a natural order. And you can feel that again. The more so, the closer you are to God. I just feel so burdened for everyone who's lost in external validation and instant gratification, purposelessness, pleasure, distraction, addiction, just souls that are wandering, looking for an identity in something, searching for who they truly are, feeling existential, seeking meaning and fulfillment, hating their life and who they are, and wishing they could feel like a kid again. You get this with God. You truly get this with God, and it is so beautiful. God and seeking God's ways over my own, which is still just your relationship with God, completely changed my life. It even saved my life. It saved me from ending it all. It really did. I'm so grateful for this life, and I wish everybody could experience this and like truly open themselves up to this, because I wouldn't go back. I don't know, like it's like when you meet the girl of your dreams, the girl that you feel like just this spiritual connection to, that you love so much, and you feel truly is your soulmate. And you think about it, and it's like, you couldn't imagine life without her ever again. You could not imagine life without her, even though you've lived like 15, 16, 20, 25 years, however old you are. Without this girl in your life, you still can no longer imagine what life would be like without her in your life. Same with God. It is the same exact thing with God. You don't know what you're missing out on. You don't know, even if you're living a life of God without actually believing in God and trusting in God, you just still are missing out on so much. You are missing out on this beauty, this enjoyment. You don't have to hate your life so much. You can enjoy it. You can truly feel purpose and fulfillment and joy and peace in the pain, in the suffering, in the struggle, in the 9 to 5. There is no excuse. Yes, certain things are out of your control and will make you feel more separated from God. I actually believe, this is really random, but I believe living in a city, living in like an actual city, in physical and spiritual ways, both deter you from God and separate you from God. I know it's really weird and random, but like because of the air quality, I think it physically makes you sicker. And I think spiritually, it's because cities usually have demonic principalities, and because there's also more people equals more sin. So you're gonna feel more of like this like demonic, like you're not gonna be as close to God as you would be if you were in nature, in the trees, in a cabin in the middle of the woods. That's just naturally how it's gonna be, and you just have to accept that. But it's like, at the end of the day, it is up to us. It is up to us to live this life out and to live this life of God, with God, close to God. It is so beautiful. You can live it. You truly can. And I just pray that you do. I pray that you really like understand this. So anyways, that's all I have for you today in this video. It is getting really hot. And anyways, I love you all, and I will see you all in the next one. Peace.